This package is far too large for what is inside of it. Here's my hand for scale. But this package, I believe, contains a micro SD card. So, why the heck is it so big? And there's a package inside of the package. What? There's nothing in here! Oh wait, yes there is. There it is. Micro SD card. So, a while ago, I ordered a 128 gigabyte SD card, micro SD card for my phone, and it was broken. So, I've returned that one and gotten another one. This one's slightly better, and it was more or less the same price. I got it for, I think, $24? Yeah, I just got a refurbished one off of Amazon. And honestly, as long as it works, I don't care if it's refurbished or not. Usually I would when it comes to storage, but for $24, there really isn't too much to risk, and Samsung has really good return policies. So, I guess the only thing that's left to do is to take this out. Take out my good luck fortune. Take out the old SD card and, spin it around a little bit. Oh, this is so difficult. And put in the new one. So hard to do with one hand. Put the good luck fortune back in and close it all up. And now, all things, hoping that everything goes correctly, let's see. We can just come over here, settings, close that, and where the heck is storage? There it is. There the heck it is. Unsupported. What? Uses portable storage. And now, hopefully, this one will work and it won't be stupid. There we go, 120 gigabytes. So nice. Wow. That brings me back, right back up to the 160 gigs of storage that I have on here, or rather 152. So nice. It takes so long to move stuff. Like, wow, 40 minutes to move 30 gigs. USB 2, you're so slow. And I guess micro SD cards are also very slow. But other than this taking an extraordinarily long amount of time, just uploaded a video. I'm going to be streaming in about an hour and a half. And, well, that'll be fun. Love Overwatch and streaming Overwatch. If any of you guys watched the stream the last time I did it, or the first time, rather, that I streamed Overwatch, you might know that we had some issues where the stream was very laggy and looked really bad. Well, I have since hopefully fixed those issues. I have right here a little test clip. I need to test it out with Overwatch. But this is more or less the quality of that the stream is going to be, and it looks okay. It's not as good as, obviously, when I record something, but it doesn't look terrible. The only thing that I want to do that I have not been able to do yet is, well, first of all, let's get rid of all this. Is I want to be able to, what did I just get rid of? I don't know. To stream and capture at the same time. So I want to stream the actual footage and then capture or I want to stream a compressed version of the footage that I'm actually capturing. And I can do one or the other really well, but if I do both, then the stream gets really laggy. And the captured footage is perfectly fine, but the stream itself is really laggy. And whenever I do it, I usually have Task Manager open just so I can see like how everything's going, and honestly, it doesn't usually look like there's much of a problem. Everything isn't usually pegged at 100%. Like right now, if I were to start recording, let's see, capture over there. Is that a spider? Oh wait, I'm at spawn. Let me do this, and then I just need to move around so like it actually has to do some encoding, and it's not too bad. Honestly, yeah, it's not bad at all, but as soon as I introduce the recording into it, it's just like, or that's what it would be like if I were streaming. As soon as I introduce the actual recording, it just looks terrible. But I'm going to try capturing a game of Overwatch to see how that looks, and yeah, I'll be back as soon as I do that to see if it looks good in a super fast-paced game. Be right back. Okay, now I'm currently capturing... Oh, wow, am I out of bounds? I'm definitely out of bounds. I can't do anything from here. that's funny. But I'm capturing a game of Overwatch, and now like the processor load is a little bit more accurate of what it's like while I'm streaming. And still, I'm not really maxing out anything, but it's still dropping frames while I do that. So, I don't know. But let's finish the capture and watch the CPU usage go down just a little bit. And then over here, we have the wrong thing. Over here, footage. Go to right here, this 2-minute clip, and how does it look while moving around? Not as good as Minecraft footage because there's a bit more movement, but I mean, that's not bad. It's significantly better than what it was like before when I was streaming last time. I had to bump it down to 480p and it still looked kind of crappy. But now that looks pretty okay and it's not dropping frames like mad. It's a nice 60 FPS stream. The only problem is the bitrate's kind of high, so unless you're watching on an okay computer, it might be a little difficult for your computer to decode it. But hopefully that won't be a problem. Hopefully. If anything, I might have to open up a second channel and like restream a lower quality version of this so everyone could watch, but that would be kind of silly. Maybe. I don't know. I wonder if there's anything else I can do to make this look better. I'll try to figure it out, but as you can see now, the processor load has leveled off, and that's what Overwatch more or less does. The encoding brings that all up to like 60% utilization on every thread. So fascinating. Well, the stream is done. Computer kept crashing. Finally, the stream looks perfectly fine, but then the computer was just being super obnoxious, so I think I'm going to either have to dial down my overclock or give it a little bit more voltage, which either or I'll be perfectly fine. But I just ended it off after the computer crashed for a third time. So, yeah, stream is over. And while we were streaming, I had everything... oh, can't even type in a password while holding my phone with my left hand. Transferred all the stuff over onto the SD card, and now I'm only using a measly 40 out of the 120 gigs that are available. But that's fine, because it'll be a thing. It'll be usable. Well, it's usable, and it hasn't ejected itself yet, so it's not full of errors. But, since I have been, like, experimenting in my head, what I could do, I've come to the conclusion that I should be able to... I don't know if I explained this. I don't think so. Where I should be able to take one of my old NVIDIA graphics cards and use it to encode the stream as a lossless stream to save to the computer, while the normal 970 does all the stuff for the game and for the stream. So I was hitting some performance issues while trying to stream and record, which seems to actually work pretty well. It's just the computer kept crashing while I was doing it. But if it didn't crash, and if I start having the issues, I think I will take one of the graphics cards either from the second computer or from my pile of 2 graphics cards that are no longer being used because they don't really have much of a purpose. That being the GT 610 and the 8800 GT. Both of which are currently not in use. The 610 because it's just... there's no point, since I have the two 450s in the second desktop, and it has issues in the normal desktop when it's paired with the 970, and the 8800 has no use either because I can't actually use it in any of the computers with a newer graphics card. Or rather, I can't use it on the main desktop because the graphics card is too new, and then I can't use it in the secondary computer because... well, and then I don't use it regularly because it's just so freaking loud. But, yeah, the stream was fun. But now I think I'm going to take a shower. Need to shave, or at least get rid of this. So, I'll be back in a little bit, guys. So, for no reason whatsoever, I decided to, take a gander at this laptop one last time. And right now it's booping. Like... I don't know why it's booping, and I can't make it stop booping because holding the power button does nothing. So, I don't know how I'm going to turn this thing off, but I removed the RAM and then tried turning it on after like literally unplugging everything, and then it started booping, and now I can't make it stop booping. And I want to plug the memory back in, and if that doesn't work, I want to try it with a different stick of memory because maybe I can revive this thing from the dead. But I have to figure out why it's booping. And after I figure out why it's booping, then I'll be able to move forward. So, give me a couple of minutes to try to shut this off. I'm gonna go look up what this is. And, yeah, we'll see what happens afterwards. So a beep every 5 seconds indicates that no memory is installed on the computer. Which is true. There is no memory installed on the computer. It's right here. However, I think one of the things that I must have unplugged was the power cable, because pressing this power cable does nothing. So what I'm going to do is reapply that one, which I think is the power cable. It's still beeping. It hasn't blown up yet. And now I think I can turn it off. Nope, it's still on. Man, I have no clue. Ah, it's still on! I have no way of turning this off because I cannot remove this battery, and as far as I can tell, this is the spot where it plugs in, and I have no clue how to remove that, and I don't want to attempt to remove it in the case that it, like, damages it. So, I guess what we're going to attempt to do is just slot in a stick of memory and see what happens, because I don't know, if this does anything, that'd be pretty cool. Okay, it's still beeping. I'm trying to turn it off, to no avail. And all it does is beep! It's so weird. Nope, I need this thing to die, and I have no way of killing it. So another problem that just happened and actually has me very worried is this area right here is starting to get warm, which means something is happening, and this fan is not currently cooling the computer down. So, it's on, and the fan isn't spinning up. Maybe it will if it gets up to a certain temperature, but I can't turn this thing off. It does, like, the power button does nothing. I think I'm going to have to go see if there's a point on the motherboard where you can short to turn it on and off, so let's see if that is doable. So I touched the heatsink right here, and it was hot to the touch, so I realized I needed to turn it off in whatever way possible, and it turns out the battery power is actually quite easy to remove. I just undid that, and now it's off. No longer beeping, and no longer making ominous sounds. But now that it is off, we're going to do probably the dumbest thing you can do to a computer that has had water damage, and we're going to plug it in. Now that it is plugged in, I'm going to see what happens if I turn it on. Now, turning this thing on while it's open is kind of an ordeal. Oh, the screen came on! Wow, it works! Well, that's a $12, or not 12, a $50 MacBook Pro that I got. That's fantastic. Unfortunately, the fan is not spinning up. So I don't know if that means the fan is dead, or if something else is a problem, because that should be spinning, and if it's not, it probably means that it's going to overheat. Now, I don't know if these things will go up to a certain temperature before the fan turns on, but I honestly don't want to risk that. So, yeah, I can't really feel it getting, well, I can feel that it's warm in this general area, so I have to be careful with that, but it's booting, or at least it's turning on. Wow. I just decided today, let's try this again, and so I open it up and tear everything out, and somehow this happens. So, I guess I'm going to mess around for a little bit. I'm going to look online to see if anyone is having the problem where their fan is not starting up, or what, because that could potentially be a problem. I don't think it's anything else that I have removed, because everything except for the SATA, or SATA 1, and the CD drive, or the DVD drive, is currently plugged into the motherboard, and I am fairly certain that this header right here is the header that deals with the fan, so yeah, I'm going to have to figure out if this fan isn't supposed to whir up until it gets past a certain temperature, or what, because it did seem like it was getting quite warm. Like, this was hot to the touch. It's not really anymore, but if I can fix this thing, I really don't want it to fry at the last moment. So, I'll be back after I mess around with this a little bit more. The fan is now spinning, although it's probably very difficult to see that. And the entire reason why it wasn't was because this little guy... Okay, so initially I thought that that was the fan header, but nope, it was this one. And all except for one of the pins were plugged in correctly. So,
it wouldn't spin up. But after I just lightly tapped it down, the thing spun back up right into life, and that is good. So I am still fairly concerned that convinced that the DVD drive/CD drive is what is currently broken in this thing, so I'm not going to plug this thing back in because that could cause some issues. However, I should be able to plug in the SATA thing without any issue, and then I just need to turn it on, and as you can see, that's blinking, which is good. The keyboard, however, is not turning on, so I think the keyboard is fried, which is unfortunate. Wait, no it's not! That's really good. I don't think I have a backlight, though, or maybe the backlight's just not enabled while the computer's not booted, but oh, that's really good. Because if the backlight's just shot, I don't care about that. Not too much, but I might have a working computer right here. Wow, this is exciting. Okay, I now have this thing running off of battery power, and I think I've come to the conclusion that the power button is broken, because I am not able to shut down this computer by holding the power button. No matter how long I hold it down for, the computer doesn't turn off, and the only way I can turn it on is by plugging in the cable, and then it automatically turns on, so I don't know what to do about that. I'm going to try to reset the PRAM and the SMC, and if either of those work, great. Otherwise, I don't really know how to fix that or where that is broken. I do know that the spill occurred in this area, so if anything, I will just have to replace whatever is here. If that, I could just not care and just bring the power adapter with me wherever I go, and that would be just as good as that. But I'm currently creating the install media for this, but I cannot do anything until that's done. So this guy is just going to need to sit kind of awkwardly open for now, because I'm still plugging things in and out of it. So for a little while longer, it's going to remain like this. Wow, this is exciting. Just because why not, I decided to plug the CD drive back in. Not that you probably can't see it, but if we plug the power in, give it a second, it should come on. That is the sound of a dead CD drive. So I think it's safe to assume that most of the water went into that, or whatever the heck was spilled on it, which is fantastic, because screw these things, who uses them? I could replace it with a hard drive, or just anything that's more useful than a CD drive. I'm going to leave that. I want to leave it unplugged, but there really isn't a good place to leave this cable. Maybe I can just fold it back and it'll work. But yeah, the installation media is on its way still, and I am now convinced that the entire problem was a faulty power switch, which I find absolutely hilarious. But if we come over here, I am currently in a OS X VM, and it's slowly making the thing. It's taking way too long, though. I'm antsy now. The deed is done. The installation media has been created. So what we need to do is just come over here and eject it. Hopefully that works without issue. Close that, and close all of this stuff. And hopefully that will eject. Maybe? Please? It's not ejecting. Well, that's too bad, because it's getting pulled out. Yow, that's hot. So, I have this, and where did I put the SD card? Maybe I took it out there. And I have an SD card, yes it is out here, that I think is dead. So, wow, I've had a lot of bad luck buying SD cards lately. I got this micro SD card for Mary, for her phone, because she was like running out of space. But she has an S5, Galaxy S5, and the Marshmallow update recently came out for it on Verizon. And as a result, I was like, well, we can just use adaptable storage now to increase the amount of space we have for apps, because she has a 16 gig phone. And, well, lo and behold, Samsung doesn't support adaptable storage officially. However, it can easily be done with a few ADB commands using developer mode on the phone. So I did that, and it failed every single time. So I was like, that's weird. So today, the 128 gig SD card came in, so I took the 64 gigabyte one, or no, the 16 gigabyte one that I've been using in my phone temporarily, and stuck it into her phone, and then reran the commands, and it worked. So that got me thinking, I think there's something wrong with this micro SD card. So I took it onto my computer and did a full format of it, and it failed, which is always a huge red flag. So what I'm going to do now is attempt to install OS X on it. Yes, you heard that here. If that works, I think maybe the card is alive and there's just something screwy going on. If that doesn't work, we're going to have to return it to Samsung. Which isn't a huge problem because I also need to return that old SanDisk micro SD card that I have. It's still technically under warranty. It has a lifetime warranty. I just need to actually do it because I haven't gotten around to doing it. But that's neither here nor now. What we are doing in this very moment is something silly. We are going to be plugging that in, plugging this in, and plugging this in. Hopefully the computer doesn't turn on until it's ready to go. So now that all of that is in, I can actually plug everything back in technically because I am flipping this thing over and I just want it to be in an okay spot to be doing that. So let's close it up, flip it over, open it up, and take the power. Man, this power cable is going right across the hallway. I should probably move it and plug it in. And it should boot. Light came on. CD drive makes a disgusting sound. And I should boot into this flash drive. Hopefully. If that doesn't work, well, I'll be sad because that'll be a giant waste of time. But come on. Start up. Fingers crossed. Oh, wow. This is taking a long time. So, like I said before, the drink spilled in this general area over here, which is why, like, the CD drive makes the weird sounds and probably is the reason why the power button doesn't work. The keyboard seems okay. Oh, sweet, we got a boot logo. The keyboard seems to be maybe okay. I haven't been able to test out the backlight. But I might not be able to do that until OS X is booted. So, oh no, camera battery's dying. But the caps lock button comes on, which is good. And yeah, these buttons do nothing if I press function, and these buttons, nothing happens. So I'm not entirely sure if the keyboard is okay, but we will see in just a second. But I need to replace the battery in my camera because it's about to die, so be right back. So everywhere I go, I bring this little case right here. This is the case that I keep my camera in, but on top of keeping my camera, it contains 2 spare batteries. Here's the other spare, and here's the spare that's currently in the computer, because this battery has currently died, or is dead. On top of that, I keep a couple of spare micro SD cards and this one micro SD to, or a couple of SD cards and this one SD to micro SD adapter. So the rationale behind that is if for some odd reason I am recording an absurd amount of footage, I can record stuff to these drives and have a spare, 20 gigs of storage. And if for some reason that's still not enough, I can take the micro SD card out of my phone and put it into here, giving me an extra 128 gigs, or rather, probably around 90 gigs of storage, to record stuff. But I've yet to actually completely fill up this SD card. I mean, I've half filled it. It's a 64 gig one, and usually, I don't know, on average, in order to fill that, that'd probably be a month's worth of vlogs, because I remember when I edited 16 days of vlogs, that was about 30 gigabytes worth of stuff. So double that and you have about a month's worth of vlog. And I mean, I wouldn't put it past me to completely fill it up at like a convention or something, but I'd probably run out of battery power before that happened. But like I said, this is dead, so normally these batteries can be recharged just by plugging in the camera, but obviously since I need to record stuff on the camera, I'm just going to fill it up using this extra power bank that I got with the spare batteries. So if I plug those in right there, or plug that in right there, and as you can see, here's the poorly laid out power line that's just going across everything, and oh, look at that! It's alive! Now that this is alive, the question is the mouse alive? And is the keyboard alive? So, step 1, is the mouse alive? Mouse is alive. Step 2, let's see, there is no, where's, I guess we're gonna do disk utility. Continue. Oh, continue. And so slow. Let's see if the keyboard works. What we need to do is take this, erase it, and name this Potato. Oh yes, keyboard is alive. P-O-T-A-T-O. Now, it would appear that the backlight is not alive though, so that might be dead. What I want to do is format that as journaled and GUID. Erase. And it has failed. Let's see why it has failed. Unable to write to the last block of the device. I think this thing might be dead because that has been one of the errors that I've been getting, and if I could just lock this and then unlock it and try it one last time. So plug that in, hit the done button, and try one last time. Erase, erase. Nope, it seems like it is dead. That is unfortunate. So I'm going to need to send this thing back in because it would appear that it has perished. I could try it in one more adapter just to make sure that it's not the adapter. Plug this guy in. Hopefully that doesn't trip the lock switch, because that occasionally happens because a lot of my SD slots or SD cards are super duper messed up. But oh, I bet you anything that pushed the thing. No, it did not. Wow. It's just not detecting it. Oh, there we go. And let's erase it. And erase. And it fails. Now, just for the sake of testing something else out, if I were to plug this one in, there we go. Gateway NAND. Oh, I used that as a gateway card way back when. Erase that, and this should succeed. Wow, that failed too. Same one? Couldn't open device. Well, that's a different error. Huh. Let's try another one. Are all of these SD cards dead? Because that would be kind of funny. Let's see. Erase, erase. There we go. There's one that works. That's so dumb that they're all failing. Okay, well, now that this thing works, first of all, that's fantastic. Second of all, I actually have no clue how I'm going to install anything on here because I don't have a spare hard drive. All of my hard drives are in use. I have the two 500 gig drives that were from both the other Lenovo laptop, which is over there, and then the one from the old E63, or not the old, the 6330, my current laptop, that I could transplant into here. I could take the SSD out of that laptop and put it in here. The only problem would be that I would be downgrading hardware if I did that. Because both of these, I believe, are Ivy Bridge based. Let's see. Oh, I can't do an about this Mac. But both of these are Ivy Bridge based, I think. And this only has an i5 and 4 gigs of RAM, while that thing has an i7 and 16 gigs of RAM. I mean, there's nothing stopping me from putting the 16 gigs of RAM in here, but I'd still be dropping down from like a respectable i7 to a less respectable i5. But you know, it might be worth it. So the other thing that I wanted to test though is I can unplug this and look, I have battery. The only thing that I don't know if I can do is turn it off. So I'm gonna hold the power button and this thing most likely will not turn off. Not turning off. Yep, the power button seems to be fried. What happens if I press the eject button? Nothing. It doesn't even make a weird sound. But, yeah. So far, so good. It seems like this might actually have been a ridiculously good purchase because, like I said, I got this thing for $50. And if I have a working MacBook Pro for $50, I'd take that. The only thing that I need to do is install OS X to see if it actually works. So, yeah, I'm gonna go rummaging around. I might go cannibalize the hard drive from the secondary desktop. Or I could do this, but I don't really want to do this. I could steal the hard drive from the PS3. This thing has a 500 gig drive in it. However, there's a ton of stuff on it, so I don't think that would be the best of ideas. If anything, I might just take the SSD out of the other laptop, the E6330, and put it in here, and if everything works perfectly fine, I would consider purchasing all the hardware needed in order to make this thing work again. Or I could just do what I initially did and sell this thing, and now that it's actually like functional, I could sell it for a fair bit more than I could have if it was dead. So, yeah. Oh, that's so exciting that it's alive. Okay, I guess I need to find something to install OS X onto because there is no way that I can do this right now. Or rather, there's no way I can do anything until that happens. that right there is the command that you need to run in order to partition a disk as private, or rather as adaptable storage in Android. And, what was I going to say? And now, this phone should have 32 gigs of storage as its available, like, internal space. Let's see. Yes, it does, except it's totally being read wrong. That's not correct. But for now, that's going to be what's going to be... That's going to be as much as she's going to be able to use. If we send the thing in, I think... So, as far as I can tell, there's no way to undo this. After you've started writing stuff to the internal storage, there's no way to, like, undo that. So what I'm going to do is, after we get the thing in for repair, I'm going to use Gparted... Oh, wow, I am not keeping this camera centered. Use Gparted to image this SD card onto the bigger one, and then expand the partition to 64 gigs. So I think that should work. Theoretically, it should work. There's no reason why it shouldn't work. And if that is the case, then perfect. We'll be able to expand this thing out. But we have to send the SD card off for repairs, or rather for replacement, because you really can't repair something like that. But I think on that note, I'm going to end things off here, because there's really nothing that I can do with the Mac until tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to meet up with Nick. He has an old drive lying around, so I'm going to trade him, like, a meal for that. And then we'll be able to get that Mac to work. But I think that's going to be all for now. I do hope that you guys enjoyed today's video, and I will see you all again tomorrow. So until then, good night.